Hi, Becca. Hi, Becca.
Are you not going to be able to act chow?
Becca, how are you feeling today?
Becca, why aren't you responding, bro?
Math was really quiet today.
There's no viewers.
Oh,
Becca's dead.
There's no viewers.
Becca.
Oh, no, Beck.
So we started the broadcast, so we're good? Okay.
I
don't like
the Ed from character.
Okay, so let's check in with everyone. We should have started that after we did that, but that's okay.
It's just Becca.
So just know it's live
Becca's not
for
on
Becca.
yet.
So.
So we're speaking to no, we're speaking to no one.
Oh, no, it's on.
Yeah, but Becca's not on yet.
She's not?
No, it's the viewers to zero.
No, she said she was gonna watch it live.
Yeah,
No, it's okay.
Maybe she's
I told her if she didn't feel well, obviously we would just give her the link and she could watch it later. She's not feeling well.
So dead.
Okay, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Maybe she's happy now.
Good.
I'm kidding.
Getting there, feeling on the mend.
Sleepy.
Sleepy, Raven.
I feel pretty good.
Pretty good.
Kind of all around bad.
All around band.
Becca's calling me. Hi, Becca. Becca's here.
It's not working? Or
Did you
is-
see me?
Yeah, I can see all of you guys. Here, I'm gonna go back.
All of us.
It's late.
It's a 360 camera. You didn't know?
Oh, I can
What's on the screen?
spin her around.
There's stream delay, that's why.
I couldn't comment because I
Okay.
Oh, no, because she doesn't have a channel.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you have to
Yeah, you have to make a channel.
see if she commented.
No.
No, and tell her I think it's because I think I have to go in and enable the comments.
working on
Daily has to go in and enable the comments in order for you to comment, so that's why the comments
Hey.
It says that it's posted.
Yeah, we just put it live like a few seconds ago.
Yeah.
But we can't see the comments.
Until
We can't see the comments because I have to moderate them on a school one. Like, I have to approve them all.
Did you still school today?
Well, Becca, how are you today?
Yeah, how are you today?
Yeah, emotional check-in.
I'm sick. That's my word for today.
That's
Oh.
okay.
Yeah.
Let's get
Well,
into this.
have fun listening, Becca.
Thanks.
It's okay. I first heard a buzzing and I said, what's going on?
Did you make one for me? Probably good.
It says one viewer now.
Okay. Okay.
We see it now. It says one viewer.
always watching.
Okay. Well, yeah, so those are some things to refine. Is that I'm pretty sure that the school one probably defaults to moderated comments that you have to check before they are just going to automatically post to the live stream. So I'll have to see if I can go in and change that because then people can chit chat with us as we do things. I'd also want to do experiment with Becca in just calling her on Google Hangouts instead of a live stream. Except that I practiced it with a student in mods 13, 14. Your webcams are disabled.
Wow. Sick.
Is it one more? I think it's only when we're on the school Wi-Fi though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you connect to a hotspot, just the.
Yeah, so I don't so that might.
Yeah, it's
We can
like
get
in
Nathan
settings,
Miller.
and it's like by like
I thought it was
authorization by the
Yeah, you do have to type in a password.
Yeah,
it's like PHS admin, and then you type.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
then
admin,
I'm
admin.
away prosecution.
Right, yeah, and I get why they don't want webcams to be enabled. We get why. But that would have been a very helpful because then we could have just called.
Why not just Skype?
Well,
It was like we were. I don't think.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
That's
that's not.
Okay.
Everything's
All right,
Wait,
so
here's the thing, Mrs. Daly, we could
We
do
didn't
that
finish.
if you have like an at-home laptop.
Oh, that's
Or on
true.
your phone, you can Google Hangout, I think.
That's
Yeah,
right.
if you're not here, your camera will be.
At home.
That's fine. Like,
It's just on the school
I know
Wi-Fi.
I can use it at home. The camera at least turns on when I'm at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there. Now we know. So we'll think about that for some other time if you're ever sick and want to lie in bed and be a part of class. email me and
I
we'll,
wish
and we'll
every
call
was like
you.
that, so I would never have to
Hang
come
out.
into school. So
Yeah.
Just
Never,
super quick,
ever
did
had
you know
this
there's a
issue.
movie on Netflix called The Stanford Physics Experiment?
Yes,
I
I've
love
seen
that.
it.
I love that.
I just found it,
Michael
and then I watched
Fassbender's in
it. Yeah.
I'm all over it. I have it like.
No.
Oh, no, not Michael Fassbender.
Ezra Miller.
Yeah. So,
Right.
no, it's a good one.
Yeah, I'm
All
watching it.
the
Okay,
All
where do we
of the
stop with
Franks.
checking in with people? We're like all over the place today.
Maya. No, Maya.
I said I feel bad
I
all
said
around.
good. Yours?
Adequate.
Adequate,
I'm good.
good, exhausted, sick.
Yeah.
Meh. Okay. All right. I'm sleep deprived too, so I'm very scatterbrained. Okay, but classical conditioning. Where did we stop yesterday?
I think we're
Like, we did the front. We did the whole front.
We did the whole front.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I think that again, number 7 is probably an example of higher order conditioning, unless.
I was gonna say discrimination because he was with the other guy that
So
happened.
you did it. Okay. I was going to say unless you interpreted this one as like punch and pain, and your neutral stimulus was seeing him by himself. So then when you saw the other person by themselves,
My wording was great. So
Okay.
punch from one guy for US.
okay.
UR was pain. NS was the other guy. Then the CS was the other guy.
Okay. Okay. You could do that.
Very scientific.
I know that like there's like a lot of different ways that you can know these ones.
Yes.
But how, not a definitive, but how are tests going to happen?
Okay. So on your Unit 6 test and on the AP test, they're not going to make you break it down like this. Okay. So the key here is if it's classical conditioning. So it's like scenario. According to classical conditioning, they are always going to ask you which two stimuli get paired together. So as long as you know that it's like the punch being associated with a person, you would be fine. Like we're not as concerned with the response in classical conditioning as we are in operant conditioning. So it's just the association of the stimuli. As long as you know that, then you understand classical. And you stay tuned for tomorrow when we talk about limits to classical conditioning. You can see, like, it's not very good at explaining a lot of behavior.
Now, is it going to ask questions such as discrimination, hierarchy?
Yes, I would know what those are.
Okay.
I would say that's probably more important than the actual breakdown. Like what generalization versus discrimination, spontaneous recovery and extinction, which we're going to talk about tomorrow. Okay. So, and higher order conditioning. Okay. So yeah, don't get hung up on like too much on these, right? It's just like practice in the linking of the stimuli that's key. Okay, so what about 8?
I said homework, depression, desk, depression.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
Homework makes you depressed or stressed. I don't care which words you use, right? And you're associating the desk with the homework. And so that's why now just seeing the desk makes you feel sad. Yep. Okay. Number 9, probably a blow to the head hurt, right? That's probably our USUR. Okay. And you're associating the blow to the head with a basketball, right? So now, like, you don't like basketballs because you associate them with that blow to the head. So basketball is equal pain, right? Yeah.
Can it just be sports?
Right.
And then-
Right. You
Yeah,
could
like-
say, yeah, you could just say all balls as your neutral stimulus. But the learning, actually, the acquisition was with a basketball, and then we generalized to all sports balls. There you go. Okay. 10, again, your cat gets attacked by a dog by walking in your front yard. So now your cat stays in the backyard or in the house. So the stimulus of the attack led to some reaction of the cat. What do we want to say? Like fear or pain or something like that, right? The key here, though, is that the cat is associating what with the attack? The front yard. That is your
Not a
neutral
dog.
stimulus. The front yard is associated with it.
And would that be discrimination because he'll still go in the backyard?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's an example of discrimination because it specifically tells us that he'll go in the backyard, but not the front. Yep. Okay. Your cat comes running every time it hears the can opener. Food is a stimulus that equals what? I don't know, happiness or, yeah, satisfaction. And the key here, right, is that your cat is learning to associate food with what? The can opener, right? The sound of the can opener in your cat's mind is like, yay, food. So they come a running.
Could we make an argument for higher order thinking because can opener comes from the can itself?
Yes, right, yeah. Yes, so you could have said that technically how this worked, right, was like food happy, NS of can, right? But then can opener opens said can, yeah, and it just, we built on the cat's learning. Yeah, okay. How about your dog gets sick and has several painful trips to the vet. Now he hides every time he hears you rattle your keys.
Vet pain, keys, pain.
Okay. You could say vet pain, keys, pain. Okay, that's fine. If you were like, well, back it up. How did vet equal pain? That's not a naturally occurring connection.
I said like sick equals pain.
Yeah, right. So you could back it up. Sick pain, vet pain. And then do a next step of higher order conditioning. Vet pain, keys pain. Is that T-pain? I was like, right, I know, I was just like, vet pain, keys pain. You know, I'm like, what's going on there?
Now you're all gonna remember that.
Okay. All right. So look, again, like there aren't going to be any like story problems on any test. Okay? Just which two stimuli get associated together, that is classical conditioning. And our hang up with classical conditioning, our problem, is that it has to be something biologically occurring. That USUR, it has to be like natural, like nobody has to teach you to hate being electrically shocked or like food or, you know, all these things. So it's very limited. So stay tuned when we critique both of these tomorrow. We're going to critique. Okay. I already have it done. So now I haven't copied it yet. Then
She said that.
We'll squeeze Tom in there somewhere. Okay. So operant conditioning. All right, that's the next page. Operant conditioning is a form of associative learning. Right, conditioning just right. It's talking about association. In our first one, it was two stimuli. In our second one, it is so much easier to understand. Are you ready?
So excited.
People learn by associating an action with its consequence. You've been living operant conditioning your whole life. That's why this one is the easier one of the two to understand. All right, so remember Thorndike and his ingenious law of effect there, right? That people will do things more if they have a good consequence, and they'll stop doing things that have a bad consequence.
In theory.
Okay. Well, right, we can, right, yeah, in theory, right? But remember, the behaviors don't care about what's going on in our heads, right? They're still looking at pure observable behavior. Both classical and operant conditioning theorists still believe you're a product of your environment, right? Like, that you're just reacting to stimuli. Do you see it? Like, they don't do any of the, like, yeah, I think we can all probably think of bad habits we have that you're like, no, aren't good for you, yet you still keep doing them. Thorndike would reply with, when the cons start outweighing the pros, you'll stop. Do you know, like procrastination, right? Like, procrastinate later, right? That's what I always say. And then eventually you get burned enough times, you'll stop doing it. That's what Thorndike would say. So
It's gonna be a grip.
Okay. Yeah.
Just so I can compartmentalize it.
Yes.
Skinner is the operant, as in Pavlov is classical.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Watson falls in the classical camp, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Then Thorndike joins Skinner.
Yep. So when you think classical, that's Pavlov, that's Watson, right? Little Albert from 40 Studies. Okay. When you think operant, that's superstitious pigeons with Skinner. That's Thorndike with his law of effect, right? Okay. There's more a lot of those people we'll cover tomorrow too, because Garcia, Rescorla, and Tolman all critique classical and operant conditioning. They all provide critiques of like why they're not very good, or why they have flaws, what the flaws are in them. Okay. All right. So we do things because we've learned to associate an action with a consequence. So step one, right, is to talk about reinforcements and punishments. That's the front of this page. Okay. I think it is beneficial to break the statements down into two parts. So then I'll let you try them. Okay. If it is a reinforcer, a behavior is continuing or increasing. Right? Reinforcers increase behavior. Punishments stop a behavior. Okay, that's the difference. A reinforcer ups a behavior, a punishment stops a behavior.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Okay. Of which one? You want to do reinforcers first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Sure, we can just pick some off of here. That's easy. Okay. So actually go to number 2. Let's do number 2 first. All right. Smoking a cigarette causes a dopamine release in the brain. So ask yourself, question 1 is is the behavior going to continue or increase? Yeah, absolutely, right? This person's going to keep smoking because of this consequence, right? The consequence is dopamine jacked up. So yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to keep doing it.
With a positive reinforcement.
Yes, okay. It's a I'm saying break them down into steps. First, ask yourself, does the behavior go up or stop? That gives you the R or the P for reinforcer punishment. Then go back and add the adjective in, okay? So positive and negative. I think it's too confusing, this is just me, to think of them in terms of good and bad, okay? Just think of positive as addition, like math, okay? Adding, getting, earning, right? And I think of negative as subtract, avoid, remove. So think of them like math and less like value-based.
So would a negative like reinforcer be taking away a bad thing?
Yes, but I don't like saying bad thing because it will get confusing when we start talking about punishments, because technically all punishments are bad to the learner.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to say there's a good punishment unless you're like,
yeah,
oh, we're live. I don't want to use that. Yeah. Insert 50 Shades joke there, right?
No.
Okay. That's terrible. Okay. So if, go ahead, Tyler.
Negative reinforcer for like something like this situation, would it be like if you just continually threw away like cigarettes or something like that, or like something that would, or like, and it would give you a satisfaction because of it, like if you're trying to quit, and like say you just had a bunch of cigarettes that you bought, like if you continuously threw them away and that gave you satisfaction doing that.
Well, but I think you're going too in depth too soon. So hold on. So what did we pick for number 2? Positive or negative? Positive. Why does the person keep smoking? To get the dopamine fix, right? They want that. So the behavior increases or continues. Why? Because they are earning or getting or being rewarded with something. You can use reward as a synonym for positive reinforcement.
What about negative reinforcement?
So jump down to number 11. Jump down to number 11. Smoking a cigarette makes the craving for nicotine to go away. So we're addicted to the nicotine. So how do we avoid the withdrawal symptoms? To keep smoking. So we keep smoking either, I think this is like weird that we're live today, but
wouldn't it be positive because you're trying to continue?
You are thinking of it in terms of good and bad. Don't do that. Why does the person keep smoking in number 11? To get rid of something. Okay.
Oh.
To avoid, remove,
It's all
eliminate.
The way the question is worded.
Yes,
Not in the action.
right. It's not in the action, it's in the reason why the action happened, okay?
So.
Here's another example of that, okay? Like my own kid. You would think that like yelling would make her stop doing the thing that she's doing that's bad. But my kid thinks it's funny to watch my blood pressure increase, right? And so oftentimes when I yell and scream, she laughs because she thinks it's funny to get me. So do you see, right? So for me, yelling is a positive reinforcer. I never yell because all it does is make her do the thing more because she wants to hear me yell more because she thinks it's funny. Do you see it? Like, so you have to look at like, does the behavior increase? If so, it's a reinforcer, even if the teacher didn't intend it to be.
Okay.
Right? Like, even if it wasn't the intent, it's still a reinforcement. Yes, Leah.
Becca wants to know, in number 4, which brother is the worm?
The brother on the floor.
I would you just.
Okay. All right. So, do you see how 2 is PR and 11 is NR? Okay. So now let's look at 1 and 6 because those match. Okay. In this instance, somebody's using a cell phone in class and the teacher takes it from them. So does the use of the phone stop or does it increase? It stops. So this is a punishment. Does the punishment work because something is applied, given, or something is taken away, removed? Taken away, removed. So that one's an NP. But now look at number, what did I say, 6? Okay. The student's cell phone rings in class. The teacher answers the phone and talks to the caller, hopefully embarrassing the student. That's a positive punishment because the behavior of cell phone use is still stopping, but it's this time because they're being embarrassed, like we're applying embarrassment. Okay. Yes, right? You will study for the Unit 6 test. Reinforcement. You're going to keep studying. Why? Is it because you want to get an A? You want to feel good about yourself?
Or you just don't want to fail.
Or you just don't want to fail. It doesn't matter. In both cases, the behavior still increases or happens, but it's happening either to get something or to avoid something, right?
So which way do you punish better?
So for punishment, would it be like,
Okay. So punishments just stop a behavior. And they're part of operant conditioning, but not really. Okay. Like the reason we need to know about punishment is because a lot of people think that they are reinforcing when they're really just punishing. So like those examples of 1 and 6 are really good examples. If I were to only punish students when they did wrong things, I'm not going to get an increase in any desired behavior. I have to just continually stop the bad. That's a lot of problems sometimes with school, right? Like punish. That and then we wonder why the person never does what we want them to do. At what point did we ever outline a desired behavior and apply reinforcement? The minute you do that, do you know what I mean? Like, I just think about the exhausted parent that's like, oh, being a parent is so exhausting. I'm like, well, all you're doing is punishing the wrong. You're never saying what you want to happen. And if this happens, then you earn this, or this bad thing is happening until you do what you're supposed to do, right? That's a negative reinforcer.
Does that go along with the book you're writing? Like with the punishment?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
I was just wondering because you brought up the students getting punished.
Yes.
You're writing a book.
I want to write a book. These are all my ideas.
Textbook.
Well, after
My favorite thing on the test was
Myers Daily. I know. I was like, this is the actual writing.
I was very
on my
tempted to
test,
circle it.
and see if she marked as well. Can we do number 5?
Yes. Okay. So 5.
I'm glad we're taking time to do this because that would be very
Yeah, right? No, so 5, in this case, you decide that this movie is terrible, so you get up and walk out. Okay, how are you interpreting this one?
So, Jacob and I said it was a punishment because you're stopping the behavior, but like, so is it a negative punishment?
I said it was
I said it was a negative
I said it was-
reinforcement.
Okay, this is where some of these I'm going to acknowledge. Again, get hard, because I'm trying to, like, in one sentence, get you to label it as a PP or an NP. So I would say if you want to say that it's a punishment, what kind of punishment are we saying it is?
I see it as a negative punishment because it's taking away the pain of watching a disgusting.
But yeah, it's kind of what
Yeah,
I
I
said.
said
You're stopping
reinforce it,
seeing a
wouldn't
movie.
Well, you're
it's not
leaving the movie,
reinforcing
so
it
you're
because
stopping
not
the behavior.
you're increasing the behavior, you're stopping it. I said it's negative because like you're like, now you wasted your time, you have to go up and out of your way to do something you didn't need to do.
So that's the good and bad that we're not.
I know,
But you're ending going to a bad movie.
Yeah.
Is what I-
You're ending the discomfort
You're not
of
seeing
it.
the movie, like you're taking
No,
that
I put positive because you're like allowing
You know-
yourself to like you are just like
Yeah, I think that one's not the best example because it doesn't give you enough information to determine.
What do you have?
Well, I had negative reinforcer. So I'm like, that's what I mean. Like, but I was looking at the behavior of getting up and walking out as happening. And why are you getting up and walking out? Because to avoid the movie.
Okay.
I was looking at.
But I guess that would
movie
kind of
goes
make the
together.
movie
Yeah,
worse,
right.
wouldn't it? These all make a lot of sense, just depending on the way you look at it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And
I didn't
again,
know if this one was like
So
a
I'm just gonna
specific
put a-
one or if it was just another one.
no. So
Star
look,
next to it.
I don't like. I like Raven's comment, right? Like, just when you talk, the key here, right, is not, I know that it's upsetting a lot of people, like, what is the right answer?
Yes.
I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
the point is that we're just talking about the 4 different kinds. That's the point of this whole thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
so if you're like, well, I interpret it as this because the behavior is stopping when something's applied, therefore positive punishment. Yay, you still know what positive punishment is. Like, that's all I care about.
So it's
Right.
more of just like understanding. the
Yes,
concept,
right.
Being able to apply it.
Okay. Do you want a few minutes to try some
Yeah.
more of these? Yeah. Take a couple minutes and try some more, and then we can check them.
Oh my god, I almost fell.
I think having
Like, I know that this is dumb and nerdy.
The 10
But-
makes 10 is, I think 10 is the parallel to 5, but makes more sense because of the.
Yes.
likely to take-
Yes. Yeah. I should have said more likely to leave future movies
Yeah, something like
when
that.
they suck.
instead of leaving that exact movie.
Right. Right.
I think having a little like list of words for each thing, like positive, I have a little line that have add, get, continue, gain. Like having those
Yes.
makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
Yeah, being
So
able to
like
have
add, get, earn is another good one. Reward with, yeah.
It's helpful to have that because then I can like
Yeah.
use different adjectives to
Right.
put it in there instead of.
And so that's why I always just break them up into 2 steps. I first ask myself, is a behavior increasing or is a behavior stopping? And then why? Was something added or was something subtracted? Yeah. So if you just divide them up into 2 steps, it should be okay.
All the laws to origin. That'd be positive.
Okay, I was going to say that it's really nerdy, but if you look at 3 and 15, they help because they don't make, like, do you know what I mean? They're nonsensical since you don't know what the things are. It's purely just the rule of learning. So,
I read 24 as receiving a ticket for sleeping in your car.
yes, I guess you could get in trouble for that if you're like in a parking lot or something.
Yeah, if you're in like a
private area.
Experience.
like you can't just sleep in your car and like
A private.
like Target's parking.
Yeah.
Like this like Stark State, Like they have security in the parking lots. I can't just like,
Yeah.
good night. Like, no.
Like you do it outside.
Couldn't you do it at the library though, because the library is a public place?
No, if you, my mom's really into tiny homes, so if you have a tiny home, you have to get like zoning permits.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's dumb.
But
like,
I know, like,
my backyard.
I know that like free parking places, like people will park their cars there and sit there, but I don't think like you'd be able to go to the
Or
library and be
national
like,
parks,
yeah, I don't.
Well,
there's a lot of.
A lot of people do that behind Walmart, they'll just like park their RV.
Yeah, you're like getting.
Or like Home Depot, I see that Home Depot a lot.
Yeah.
Or
even like the semis.
Yeah.
I think that's how they're sort of
Huh.
Yeah, like I understand, like.
A lot of them have like their seats can fold down into a bed and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought I would take a truck driver for like a really long time when I was younger. Now I'm thinking like, why would everyone do that? Why? Also, I don't really want a family.
He's just getting it.
Then you know what you do? You get a flight attendant.
That is true.
Now you're talking.
Yeah. And you just go
Maybe
everywhere.
it's something.
Your money, I don't know.
Really? Do you?
This is a reinforcer.
Studying for an exam reduces positive. So you're adding a takeaway, so positive.
You're texting.
That could be a takeaway.
Wait, no. Wait.
Does the behavior happen? Does it continue? Does it increase
No.
the studying?
Well, yes.
So that's an R or a P?
You'd be positive. You-
R.
you
An R,
gain-
Yeah.
reinforcer. Why are you doing it? To get something or avoid something?
I guess so. Avoid, so negative reinforcer.
This
Yep.
daily.
Which one
They
did
have
you just
assistance
do?
on meetings.
18.
17.
Okay, I was on 17 too, so I got.
Yeah,
Oh.
All right. Did
Yeah.
you say 18?
Did you receive a pull to the face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we said.
yeah, the pull to the face. I'm guessing you're gonna stop texting while walking. Why? Because something you have pull to the face.
Run.
So 18 is
Yeah, I
a
was thinking.
punishment.
Oh, I mean, or driving while texting too. Yeah,
Positive.
I was
Driving
envisioning.
a plane, actually, so.
That one is actually inspired by the other morning I was driving to school on Lincoln Way and somebody was walking, I think, to a bus stop and they ran into a speed limit sign because they were on their phone. They just like walked right into it.
That one's a positive punishment.
It is.
Knew it.
Guessing they won't be doing that again.
Why
anytime
is
soon.
that positive?
Because you're applying the pull to the face.
The behavior stopping because they got something is a pull to the face.
And the same would go for.
Sorry.
Same would go for 20, right? Because
Yeah.
he stops his texting.
He stops
and gives him 4 hours.
Because he got a detention. Yep. Positive punishment.
Should we start on the back or?
Don't do the back. We will do the back tomorrow. That's a whole nother beast. I mean, if you did, good on you. Okay.
Yeah, if you did,
Okay.
Proud of you.
Can we try to go over the answers to some of the, what time do you, yeah, we have time. Okay, listen, this is all on the back tomorrow. We're going to talk first about the fact that punishment, like we have to talk about it to know the difference between that and reinforcement, but operant conditioning theorists don't think punishments, I mean, yeah, use them, but they're not like,
they're not better.
yeah, they're not going to, like, you're not going to learn any behavior. You just
Yeah.
stop doing behaviors.
And a lot of things we think of punishment are reinforcers.
Yeah, right. And in everyday vernacular, a lot of the times we say, like, I'm grounded until my grades are up to a B or higher. I hate this punishment. Actually, you're like, you can say, well, actually, I hate this negative
And then that
reinforcer.
person's gonna hit you because they're failing their class.
And then they're
They don't know what you're saying.
And they're gonna be like, please stop talking to me.
So, okay, so the back is going to do how to apply the reinforcer. So we'll do that tomorrow.
You want to hear something alarming?
Yes.
I'm not gonna say what teacher it was, but someone said psych is easy and all common sense. And I was like, no, we're
I
not
think they
writing
said
it.
something at the beginning of the year about how people say that and it makes you so
I turned
mad.
a page and I was like, Mrs. Dale?
Can I write it out?
No.
Where is it?
It doesn't matter because they all believe it. Okay. Listen,
I stood up.
we often remember, did you point out hindsight bias that of course now that these are established theories, you think that they're common sense, but you only think they're common sense because you already know the theory.
Look at that hand motion. She's like the only reason why.
So I'm like, no, it's fine.
I didn't say hindsight, but
No, yeah. But and yeah, I don't know. That happens every year. It's the AP teacher battle of whose test is the hardest. And again, I'm like, well, everybody
I bet she
everybody
can
thinks
take
their
it,
own
yes.
test is the hardest.
None of you are innately lit, but I don't even know how to test one.
Okay. That's hard.
You have
They're
to
all
read two
hard.
books and write stuff.
They're all hard in their own
Okay.
ways.
Well, I just think it's a silly argument. They're all challenging. They're all challenging and they're all standardized tests. So guess what?
they don't really measure that.
No, the standardized test is a bell curve. So you're always going to have fewer 5s and 4s than you do 3s, than 2s than 1s. Like they're standardized, so they all fit
That's
the bell
what a
curve.
parabola is.
They might, who knows, they might go off of what percentage you need to get a 4 or 5 though, in their opinion.
Yeah, I mean to
Well,
some
they're-
extent, but
Like,
I mean,
you
it's-
have to get a 33% to get a 5 on my
But-
test.
how does it? But they establish that by comparing you to the pre-tested group. So
There's a
Like-
pre-tested group?
yeah, like that's how the AP exam is calculated. It's piloted as a final exam at universities. And so like intro to psych at all these universities are administering like this, and how people score on those tests determines what the cutoff is for an A, B, C, D, F.
So they
5, 4, 3,
recommend
2,
someone
1.
smuggle information. Or is it a different class?
Yeah, I mean, it's the question. That's why it's so hard to get released AP test questions. They don't, because they've piloted these in all these like college classes. They don't like to share them because
They just give a
reuse
lot
them
of
from
questions
your-
out to a bunch of college teachers and said, give us just
Your
their
data.
data on this question.
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense, but at the same time.
Yeah.
Doesn't.
Stay tuned for Unit 9
Do that.
on testing and
I'll
individual
make a living
differences.
off of
So,
being
okay.
influencer.
We'll check these tomorrow then. Back, critique of operant and classical conditioning. We're not going to get to 29 tomorrow. We can do 29 and 30 on Friday because 30 is Albert Bandura from 40 Studies. People can learn by watching and observing. Done. The easiest of all the theories to understand.
Oh, say bye to Becca.
Bobo the
Sounds
clown.
like
I
an
don't have
example.
it.
Okay. It was?
Lauren Cooney got it.
Yeah.
Bye, Becca. Everyone say bye to Becca.
Bye,